Many souls imagine that guardian angels live in a kind of holy solitude. They think each person is given one angel, and that angel remains beside that soul alone, enclosed in a private mission, separated from all other invisible beings. But the hidden life of grace is not so narrow. Your guardian angel does not circle around you in isolation, as if your soul were detached from every other soul God places before you. Each time you meet another human being, something takes place beyond the reach of your eyes. While you speak, while you listen, while you pass one another in silence, another encounter is unfolding. Your angel meets the angel of the person before you. And what happens in that sacred, unseen meeting matters far more than most people understand. Padre Pio perceived this with a clarity that should make every Christian more careful, more humble, and more prayerful. He saw what guardian angels do when the souls entrusted to them come face to face. He understood that no conversation is merely human. No friendship is merely emotional. No stranger who crosses your path is merely accidental. There is always a deeper world moving quietly beneath the surface. Padre Pio did not believe in guardian angels only because the Church taught him to believe. He knew them with the familiarity of a man who lived close to heaven while still carrying the wounds of earth. He spoke to his own angel daily. He sent his angel to awaken people in faraway places when their souls needed prayer. He asked the angels of others to help when the people themselves would not listen to him. For him, the world was never empty. It was full of spiritual presence, full of battle, full of mercy. The Franciscan monastery at San Giovanni Rotondo was not only filled with monks, penitents, pilgrims, and the poor. It was also filled with angels. Padre Pio could see them, not as vague feelings, not as sweet impressions, not as symbolic shadows, but as living servants of God. He saw them moving through doorways. He saw them standing beside souls, waiting for confession. He saw them bend near those who prayed with tears, and he saw what happened when two people met, and their angels met with them. One morning, in the late 1940s, a woman arrived at the monastery before dawn. She had traveled for 2 days, exhausted in body and wounded in heart, because she wanted to speak with Padre Pio. Her son had stopped speaking to her. They had quarreled over his marriage, his work, and most painfully, his abandonment of the faith. Every letter she sent returned unopened. Every visit ended in anger. Words had become stones between them. Silence had become a wall. She came not to accuse him, but to beg for mercy. She wanted Padre Pio to pray that her son's heart would soften, that forgiveness might enter where pride had hardened everything, that the distance between them might begin to crack before it became too late. She stood in the dim corridor outside the sacristy, clutching her rosary as if it were the last thread holding her heart together. When Padre Pio passed by, she reached toward his sleeve. But before she could speak, he stopped. He looked at her. Then he looked beyond her, to one side and then the other, as if listening to a conversation no one else could hear. Then he said, "Your angel and his angel are already speaking. They have been speaking for months. Do you want to know what they are saying?" The woman froze. She had not mentioned her son. She had not told him her name. But Padre Pio knew. He often knew what souls carried before they opened their mouths. He motioned for her to follow him into a small side room where the morning light barely entered. She sat down. He remained near the window, looking out toward something she could not see. And then, with great seriousness, he began to explain what happens when two guardian angels meet. Padre Pio told her that when two people enter one another's presence, their angels arrive first. Not first according to the clock, for angels are not bound as we are by time and sequence, but first according to the order of the Spirit. Before the greeting, before the handshake, before the eyes meet, before the first word is spoken, the angels are already present in a space that overlaps the visible room but is not confined by it. And the first thing they do is reveal to one another the state of the souls they guard. Not with speech, as we speak. Angels do not need the slow poverty of human words. They communicate in a kind of spiritual light. Each angel radiates the condition of the soul entrusted to him, and the other angel perceives it immediately, completely, without confusion. Nothing is hidden, nothing is exaggerated, nothing is misunderstood. They see the sins not yet confessed. They see the graces received with gratitude. They see the graces resisted or wasted. They see the wounds still bleeding in secret. They see the virtues growing silently, where no one praises them. They see the temptations gaining ground. They see the prayers whispered in the darkness when the world thinks the soul has forgotten God. They see the excuses, the fears, the shame, the hunger, the pride, the hidden longing for mercy. All of it is unveiled in an instant. The woman leaned forward, trembling. "What did my son's angel show yours?" she asked. Padre Pio did not answer directly. He continued, because he wanted her to understand something deeper than curiosity. He said that angels do not reveal these things in order to condemn. They reveal them because they are preparing to ask one another for help. Every human meeting is an opportunity. When your soul encounters another soul, grace has a chance to pass between them. A word may be spoken that opens what has been closed. A glance may carry forgiveness before the lips can form it. A silence may create room for repentance. A small kindness may loosen a chain that has held someone for years. But such things do not happen by accident. The angels are at work. They are asking one another, in the purity of obedience, "What does your soul need? What can mine offer? Where is the wound? Where is the opening? What is God trying to accomplish here?" Then they coordinate. One angel may move his soul to speak, the other may soften his soul to listen. One may shield the soul from harm, the other may expose a truth that can no longer remain buried. One may restrain anger, the other may awaken remorse. They labor together even when the two people themselves are resisting each other. They remain servants of the same God, even when the souls they guard are acting like enemies. This, Padre Pio said, was what had been happening between the mother and her son. Every time she wrote a letter, her angel carried more than paper and ink. He carried the intention behind the words. He carried her love, her grief, her desperation, her wounded hope. And when the letter arrived, even if her son threw it away unopened, his angel had already received what was inside it. The son could reject the envelope. He could refuse the handwriting. He could turn his face away from the mother who loved him, but he could not prevent his guardian angel from seeing the longing that had been sent toward him. And the son's angel would take that longing and place it where the young man could not entirely escape it. A memory might rise without warning. A dream might trouble his sleep. A sudden guilt might pass through him in the middle of an ordinary afternoon. A word once spoken by his mother might return to him while he walked alone. He might think it was nothing. He might brush it aside. But grace often begins as something small, almost unnoticed, pressing gently against the wall of a hardened heart. The son believed he had freed himself from his mother. He believed silence had ended the matter. But the angels had not stopped meeting. They had not stopped speaking. They had not stopped working. Padre Pio said that the meeting of angels does not depend on the willingness of the people involved. The son could refuse to read the letters. He could refuse to visit. He could harden himself every time he thought of his mother. But he could not command his angel to abandon the work of God. Guardian angels answer to the Lord, not to the moods, refusals, or blindness of the souls they guard. If God desires something to pass between two people, the angels will seek a way to deliver it. even when both people resist, even when pride shuts the door, even when anger tries to drown out grace. This is why certain conversations remain in your memory for years. This is why a chance encounter can redirect the course of a life. This is why a single sentence from a stranger can shatter a lie you have believed for decades. It was not merely chance. It may have been two angels seeing an opening and acting with holy precision. But Padre Pio also warned that these meetings are not always gentle. Not every angelic encounter is tender or peaceful. When a soul living in grave sin meets a soul living in grace, their angels meet in the midst of opposition. The demon influencing the sinful soul tries to interfere. The guardian angel of that soul may already be struggling with great intensity, fighting to keep the person from falling deeper, whispering warnings that are ignored. Deflecting spiritual blows, the person continues to invite. Then another soul approaches, a soul whose angel is strengthened because that person prays, goes to confession, resists temptation, and tries to live in God's friendship. The demon resists such a meeting because it knows what can happen when two angels coordinate. The angels of those who strive to live in grace can become reinforcements. They carry graces the struggling angel may use. They bring a strength that can help pierce the fog surrounding the soul in danger. And if those graces reach the trapped soul, something may shift. A word may finally land. A truth may get through. A man or woman may suddenly feel, perhaps for the first time in months, the true weight of what sin has made of them. Such moments can seem small from the outside, but within the soul they may be the beginning of resurrection. Padre Pio once described seeing a man in mortal sin pass by a woman who had just come from confession. They did not speak. They barely looked at one another. She was a stranger to him. He was on his way to commit a sin he had already committed many times before, a sin that had become almost ordinary to him. But as they passed, their angels met. The woman's angel struck the man's angel like lightning striking a rod, not to wound but to transmit. The grace she carried, the sanctifying grace she had just received through absolution, was shared in a mysterious way. Her angel entrusted a portion of that spiritual strength to the man's angel, and the man's angel drove that grace into the man's soul like a spike driven into hard earth. The man stopped walking. He stood in the road and did not know why. Suddenly he felt something he could not name, a sickness of heart, a clarity, a painful awareness that what he was about to do was ugly before God. He turned around. He went home. He did not go to confession that day. But 3 weeks later, he did. And when he knelt in the confessional, he said, "Father, I do not know what happened to me, but I want to stop." The two people never met again. They never exchanged names. They never knew the visible story. But their angels had crossed once, and once had been enough. This is the nature of these hidden meetings. Sometimes they are brief, like a flash of light passing through a darkened room, a single moment, a single glance, a passing word. Other times they are prolonged. When two people are bound together by deep ties, parent and child, husband and wife, brother and sister, close friends, their angels remain in almost constant communication. They are not only meeting when the people meet. They meet in the spaces between. When a mother prays at night for her distant son, her angel does not wait for the next letter. He goes to the son's angel immediately. Together, they begin to work upon the son's soul while he sleeps. The son may wake with a sadness he cannot explain, or with a strange hunger for something he has long refused to name. He may find himself thinking of his mother without bitterness for the first time in months. He may remember the faith of his childhood, the sound of a prayer, the image of a crucifix, the patience of someone who once loved him well. He may think it is random, but it is not random. It is the fruit of two angels laboring in the dark. Padre Pio told the woman that her prayers had never been wasted. Not one. Every rosary she prayed had been carried by her angel to the angel of her son. And her son's angel used those prayers like tools, like weapons, like small chisels working patiently against stone. Prayer does not always produce visible results at once, but in the invisible order it is never sterile. It becomes material for grace. It gives the angel more to work with. The son did not feel this happening because angels often work beneath the surface of human awareness. They work in the memory, in the imagination, in the will. They bring certain thoughts to the surface at the precise moment when those thoughts may help the soul. They awaken forgotten words. They arrange circumstances that appear accidental. A song heard at the right time, a conversation overheard, a Bible left open, a church bell ringing at the hour when the heart is weakest. The person calls it coincidence. Heaven calls it mercy. All of this happens because two angels meet again and again, coordinating their efforts, refusing to abandon the souls entrusted to them. But Padre Pio also said that these meetings can reveal sorrow. There are times when two angels meet and both are exhausted. Both are watching their souls drift toward ruin. Both are begging God for more help, more time, more grace. And when they meet, they recognize the same weariness in one another. This happens when two people trapped in the same sin come together. Two souls enslaved by drink, two adulterers, two people feeding each other's bitterness, two hearts that justify resentment every time they speak. Their angels meet, but instead of coordinating an attack against the sin, both are struggling simply to stop the bleeding. The meeting becomes a moment of shared grief. The angels do not stop fighting. They never cease in fidelity. But they may be fighting a battle that the souls themselves keep making harder. And sometimes one angel, with sorrowful urgency, seems to plead with the other. If your soul will not listen, at least do not let him strengthen the chains of mine. This is why Padre Pio was so insistent that people be careful about the company they keep. He was not concerned with appearances or reputation in a worldly sense. He knew something deeper. He knew that the meetings of angels are real. If you surround yourself with souls whose angels are barely holding the line, whose lives are soaked in sin, cynicism, impurity, or hatred, your own angel must spend great strength protecting you from their influence, instead of helping you grow freely in virtue. Your angel can bear occasional exposure to darkness. He was given to you for battle. But if you choose to live in darkness, if you make your home among those who constantly draw you away from God, then your angel is dragged into that war again and again. Meetings that should have become moments of mutual aid become moments of mutual defense, with both angels standing as shields, trying to protect their souls from one another. Padre Pio also taught that angels remember every meeting. They do not forget the conversation you had 20 years ago with someone you barely remember. Your memory may have let it fade, but your angel has not forgotten. The spiritual world does not treat human encounters as disposable. Every word, every wound, every mercy, every temptation, every act of charity leaves a trace. And if that person's soul is now in purgatory, your angel may still be connected to theirs. Angels do not abandon the souls they guarded simply because those souls have died. They remain near in the order permitted by God. They present the soul before the Lord. They watch over the purification. They continue to serve the divine mercy with reverence and obedience. If a soul in purgatory once crossed your soul on earth, the angels who guarded you both remember. This means that when you pray for the dead, even for someone you did not know well, your angel knows how to carry that prayer. He knows where it belongs. He knows how to bring your intercession into the mysterious communion of grace. This is why the communion of saints is not a pious image only. It is real. It is a living communion in Christ. It stretches across earth, purgatory, and heaven. It reaches beyond time, beyond death, beyond the narrow boundaries of what the senses can grasp. And within that communion, angels serve with holy intelligence, bringing prayer, intercession, sacrifice, and grace where God allows them to go. The woman asked Padre Pio whether her son would return to the faith. He looked at her for a long time. He did not give her false sweetness. He did not promise what God had not revealed. Padre Pio was never sentimental with souls. He was merciful, but his mercy was rooted in truth. Then he said, "His angel has not given up, neither should you." He told her to continue praying, to continue writing, even if the letters came back unopened, to continue offering her pain to God, not with bitterness, but with trust. Every letter, he said, was still a meeting between angels. Every prayer was still a chance for grace to break through. He told her that her son's anger was loud, but it was not the deepest thing in him. Beneath the anger was a wound. Beneath the wound was a soul he had forgotten he possessed. And that soul could still hear, not always his mother's voice, because he had trained himself to resist it, but the voice of his angel, who had been speaking to him from the beginning of his life and would continue speaking until the last breath. The mystery is simpler than it first appears. God assigns each soul a guardian angel. That angel is not chosen carelessly. He is given according to the needs, dangers, weakness, vocation, and mission of the soul he will guard. From the first hidden beginning of life, the angel remains near. He follows the soul through childhood, youth, marriage, loneliness, temptation, sin, repentance, sickness, joy, suffering, and death. The angel is present for all of it. Because he remains so near, he knows the soul better than anyone on earth can know it, better than parents, better than spouses, better than friends, better, in many ways, than the soul knows itself. He sees the soul in the light of God, without illusion, without vanity, without the lies the soul repeats in order to avoid conversion. He knows what the soul is capable of. He knows what it fears. He knows what it is running from. He knows what it secretly hungers for. He knows what could save it if only the soul would consent. And when two souls meet, their angels bring all this knowledge into the encounter. The angels meet not as strangers, but as servants entrusted with sacred missions. Each represents the true good of the soul he guards. They do not negotiate against one another. They are never enemies, even when the two people despise one another. Even when human hearts are full of suspicion, anger, jealousy, or contempt, the angels remain on the same side. They want the same final end, the salvation of both souls. So they search for common ground. They look for the place where grace may pass from one soul to another. Sometimes that place is obvious. A despairing soul meets a soul full of hope, and the hopeful soul's angel helps that person speak the exact words the suffering soul needs to hear. Sometimes the opening is hidden. Two people may argue. They may wound one another. They may leave the conversation thinking nothing good has happened. But beneath the conflict, the angels may be working. One angel may use the argument to expose pride. Another may use it to reveal a truth the person has avoided for years. One may allow discomfort so that repentance can begin. Another may restrain greater harm so that reconciliation remains possible. The people may think they are merely clashing. The angels may know they are being used as instruments in one another's purification. This is what Padre Pio wanted souls to understand. You are never truly alone with another person. Every human relationship carries an invisible dimension. There is you, there is the other person, and there are the angels standing in the sacred space between you. They are not passive observers. They do not watch your life like distant witnesses. They act, they translate. They soften, they restrain, they amplify certain words and muffle others. They steer conversations in directions neither person expected. They create openings for grace that later seem accidental. They do this because they love the souls they guard with a love that does not flatter, does not indulge, and does not surrender. They do not love your comfort more than your salvation. They do not preserve your pride when your pride is killing you. They want you in heaven. If a wound must be permitted to save you, they will not worship your ease. They will serve God's mercy. So when you meet someone, remember this with holy seriousness. Your angel knows what you bring into that room, the sins you hide, the graces you neglect, the fears that govern you, the lies you have believed, the wounds you try to disguise. And the other person's angel knows the soul entrusted to him with the same clarity. You may stand before one another with secrets, but the angels stand before one another with none. Whatever happens next, the words spoken, the silences kept, the forgiveness offered, the anger restrained, the wound given, the wound healed, all of it unfolds on two levels. On the visible level, two people are trying to navigate a conversation. On the invisible level, two angels are working for the salvation of two souls. And the invisible level is often more real than the visible one. This is why Padre Pio urged people to pray before important meetings, pray before difficult conversations, pray before trying to reconcile with someone you hurt, pray before confronting someone who wounded you, pray before speaking words that cannot easily be taken back. When you pray, you give your angel more to work with, you soften the ground of your own soul, you become more available to grace. Your angel can show the other angel that your soul is open, that you are willing to listen, that God may work through you if the moment is right. And the other angel, seeing this, may help guide the encounter accordingly. The conversation you dreaded may become the very conversation that heals you, not because you were perfect, not because you chose flawless words, but because, through your poor and trembling cooperation, two angels coordinated mercy in the middle of human weakness. And if you are praying for someone who refuses to speak to you, someone who has walked away, someone who has closed the door and will not answer, do not think your prayer is useless. Your angel still meets theirs. Every time you pray, your angel goes with an offering, and the other angel receives it, even if the person would reject anything coming from your hand. The person may refuse your voice, but the angel knows what the person does not know. He knows how badly that soul needs help. He knows the danger. He knows the exhaustion. He knows the hidden thirst beneath the rebellion. And he will use every prayer, every sacrifice, every tear offered in charity as a weapon in a battle the person may not even realize is being fought. The meetings of angels are the hidden structure beneath human relationships. Marriages survive because two angels refuse to let two stubborn souls destroy one another. Friendships deepen because two angels create moments of honesty neither person planned. Enemies reconcile because two angels finally find a crack in both defenses at the same time. Children return to the faith because the angels of their parents spent years, sometimes decades, coordinating with theirs, placing small traps of grace where the children thought they were safe from God. None of this is luck, none of it is meaningless. It is the patient, precise, hidden work of angels who meet, labor, and obey God in the rescue of souls. Padre Pio saw this again and again. He saw angels meeting in the line for confession. He saw angels meeting when a stranger asked for a blessing. He saw angels meeting when two people who hated one another were forced to stand side by side at Mass. And each time he saw the same mystery. Two angels taking the disorder of human brokenness and searching for the thread of grace that could draw both souls closer to God. Sometimes they found it immediately, sometimes it took years, But they did not stop searching. That is what they were created to do, not merely to observe, but to intervene according to God's will. Not to flatter the soul, but to lead it toward salvation. Not to remove every suffering, but to help suffering become fruitful. They intervene most powerfully, not only when you are alone, but when you stand before another soul whose angel may help yours complete some part of the work God has begun in you. So the next time you speak to someone, anyone, a friend, a stranger, a person you love, a person you fear, a person who irritates you, a person who has wounded you, remember this: you are not simply speaking to that person. You are standing in a room with 4 beings. 2 are visible, 2 are not, and the 2 you cannot see may be more invested in the outcome than either of you. They are not merely hoping the conversation goes well. They are laboring so that it goes where it must go for the salvation of both souls. Trust God's providence. Pray before you speak. Ask your guardian angel to guide your words, restrain your pride, purify your intentions, and help you become an instrument of grace rather than a cause of harm. Every word matters. Every silence matters. Every meeting matters. What appears ordinary may be filled with eternal consequence. Padre Pio told the woman to go home and continue praying. He told her to trust that her angel and her son's angel were still meeting, still working, still refusing to surrender. She left the monastery that morning with nothing outwardly changed. Her son was still far away, his letters were still unopened, his silence still remained. But she walked differently, because now she knew the silence was not empty. It was full of angels,